Sriman Mahaprabhu, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was born in the house of Jagannath Mishra, and he performed his pastimes in the house of Srivas Thakur. Now, in the beginning of his pastimes, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was Nimai the scholar, and he wasn't performing pastimes as the Supreme Personality of Godhead like Krishna. Krishna in Vrindavan, Krishna in Dwarka, he's acting like the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna speaks Bhagavad Gita. He says, Mam eka sharanam, Mam, surrender to me. He says, Manmana, think of me, Bhagavat Bhakta, become my devotee. Madhyaji, Mam namaskuru, worship me, pay obeisances to me. He's displaying the Aishadja Tattva, his supremacy as God. But in the incarnation of Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he doesn't display himself as God, even though he is God. Bhakta Rupa Sarupakam, Pancha Tattvatmakam Krishnam, Bhakta Rupa Sarupakam, Bhakta Avataram, Bhaktakyam Namami, Bhakti Shakti. Mahaprabhu is in the form of a devotee. So he's showing us how to love Krishna. Even though he is Krishna, in this incarnation he comes to teach. Apane achari shikaimu shavare. By my activity, by my example, I will teach the whole world how to love Krishna. So, in the beginning of his pastimes, Mahaprabhu, he wasn't actually demonstrating the lila of being a devotee. At that time, Navadip was famous as a center of academic scholarship throughout India. And there were many Bhattacharyas and Mistras and Acharyas residing in Navadip, teaching Vyakaran, Sanskrit grammar, and Alankar, poetry, and grammatics, and these things, academic scholarship. So, Mahaprabhu, he was born in a family of Brahmins. In fact, there was one time, we will intersperse various leelas as we go. We have no, there is no hard and fast rules. As long as it's about Krishna, you can talk about it. So one time, Mahaprabhu was at home. You went this morning to a yoga pit, Mahaprabhu's Janmastan, and there you saw Sachimata and Jagannath Mishra sitting. So Mahaprabhu was born there. His house was there. So one time, one astrologer came to the house. In those days, people didn't go to Apollo Chennai for consultation. The astrologers would come. And there were no trains, there were no Indigo or jet. People would walk or take bullock cart, and everything was available in the village, in the local area. So actually, the Vaidyas, or the doctors, we will go in a couple of days. We will go to Murari Gupta's ashram. The others behind here, just behind. He was a Vaidya. He was a Ayurvedic physician. And generally, these were localized. They would grow the herbs, and similarly, the astrologers, consultation. And you would consult astrologer, and in this way, you would give some dakshina to astrologer. In this way, he maintained himself. So one astrologer one day came to the house of Jagannath Mishra, and Nimai was there. So Nimai, seeing the astrologer, he said, Pandit Ji, can you tell me what I was in my previous life? So the astrologer, he began to consult his calculations, and he was doing the chart, the birth chart, Jyotish. And then he was doing the meditation. Unless there's meditation, he's not an author, he's not a bona fide astrologer. There has to be meditation. And then he came out of the meditation. He said, I'm seeing astounding things. I'm seeing Aishadja Roop. I'm seeing the opulence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Narayan, in Vaikuntha, with the conch, and with the Gada, and with the Padma, and with the Chakra, and all the opulence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the energies of the Lord, Yasha Prabha, Prabhavato Jagadandakoti. By His effulgence, all of the universes are sustained. Jasha Prabha, Prabhavado Jagadandakoti Svasheshu Vashudhadi Vibhuti Binnam Tad Brahmanishkalamanantam Ashesha Rupam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. He's seeing all the opulence and the potencies of the Supreme Godhead. And he's saying, in your previous life, you young man, in your previous life, you were on the level of Lord Narayan. And Nimai said, I think your calculations are wrong. Because I know for a fact that in my previous life, I was a cowherd boy. And because I looked after the cows, then I have accumulated so much shukriti that in this life I've taken birth as a Brahmin boy. So as Nanda Dulal, Sriman Mahaprabhu, Gauranga, as Nanda Dulal, he was a Vaishya. Actually, he interspersed. Sometimes he was also Dwarkaraj, Kshatriya, Krishna. He's not restricted. He was Dwarkaraj, Prince, Dwarkadish, and he was Nanda Dulal, playing in the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj, taking the cows out. But in Mahaprabhu appearance, he was born in a Brahmin family. Brahmin, Jagannath Mishra, Brahmin. So similarly, Nimai was engaged in the scholastic pastimes, and he was very erudite scholar, very erudite. And he would. You've been to Ganga? You haven't been to Ganga? You have. You know that we were hearing the other evening. We were discussing some of the glories of Ganga. You know, just by desiring to go to Ganga, and just by praying to see Ganga, you can release hundreds of ancestors from hell. Just by planning to go to Ganga. Just by, okay, this afternoon we'll go to the Ganga. Okay, yeah, that'll be good. Why don't you come along? Just by thinking like that, you can release hundreds of ancestors from hell. What to speak of seeing Ganga when you go to Ganga? The darshan of Ganga purifies you of all sins. What to speak of touching Ganga? What to speak of bathing in Ganga with a sense of, with a mood of devotion? So Mahaprabhu, in the afternoon, he would sit on the bank of Ganga, and as a scholar, he would debate and challenge all of the other scholars. And he was quite arrogant, and he would walk on the street and he would challenge scholars. And even here, Srivas Thakur was more older, about 40 years older. He was previous generation, on the same age as Nimai's father. And Nimai would walk on the street, and Srivas Thakur would see Nimai and he'd say, "Oh, best of the proud scholars, when will you realize you're wasting your life? All of this academic learning, what is the use of it? How will it help you at the time of death? Nitai na bolilo muke, maajilo shangsha shuke, vidya kule ki kori be'etar." Narottam Das Thakur, he's singing that Nitai na bolilo mukhe. If you're not chanting the name of Lord Nityananda, majilo shangsha shukhe, then you just become engrossed in sense gratification and material enjoyment. Vidya kule ki kori be'eta. What is the use of your vidya, your materialistic education? Kule, your family. What is the use of it if you're not chanting the name of the Lord? So Mahaprabhu was demonstrating this pastime. He was demonstrating for different reasons. He's enjoying, and because he was Dvijamani. He was the jewel, the precious jewel of the Brahmins. And he was very, we'll hear also later that he used to go to the house of, he used to go every day and to the market behind Jagannath Mandir, Kolavecha Shidha. Kolavecha Shidha was one Grihasta, very simple, Bhakta, pure Bhakta, Shuddha Bhakta. And there he worshipped Ganga. Every day he worshipped Ganga. And he acquired, his income was simply Kolavecha. He was selling the parts of banana tree. With the leaf, you're making the choto bowl and the tala plate. And kola mocha is the banana flower. Kola mocha. And kola tor is the stem of banana. You make sabji. So he was selling the different parts of the banana tree. And every day, Nimai, he was a young Brahmin, and he would go to the market and he would argue. Negotiate, but actually he would argue with Kolavecha. Actually, Kolavecha, he was asking a very reasonable price, not overly priced at all, fair price. And Nimai would come and say, "You are such a greedy Brahmin. You are keeping all of this money, accumulating more than you require. You're so materialistic." He would, and Kolavecha would say, "Just take your goods and go." And Nimai would say, "I will take this, I will take that. I will not pay you anything." And every day he would come and argue for several hours with Kolavecha Shidha. And Kolavecha Shidha would say, "Why you don't go some other shop and disturb them?" And Nimai would say, "These days to find a reliable supplier, very difficult." So he would take all of the different parts and he would take to Sachimata and they would cook. In fact, just before Mahaprabhu took sannyas, how much he loved Sridhar. And just before taking sannyas in the evening, he was going to take sannyas. And then he was planning to take sannyas. And then in the evening, Kolavecha Shidha came with one vegetable. It's the lao. I think Loki is called in Hindi. Loki. And he came and he gave that vegetable to Mahaprabhu. And then seeing Mahaprabhu, "I can't take sannyas now. First we have to cook this Loki." And he cooked with Mother Sachi. Another devotee bought milk and Mother Sachi cooked a special item, Loki and milk, boiling sweet. Mahaprabhu ate that and then, okay, now I'll take sannyas. So when Mahaprabhu was here, he inaugurated the Sankirtan movement here. And every night they would do kirtan, all night. And then one day, Mahaprabhu, you see the altar in the middle there. You'll see there is Panchatattva, and on this side is Radha Krishna, and Mahaprabhu standing. And then in the middle you'll see Panchatattva, and then you'll see Mahaprabhu sitting down. Now this is demonstrating. This is remembering the Mahaprakash Leela. Where in the kirtan was going on in the evening, in the kirtan, Mahaprabhu he would not sing the kirtan. The kirtan singers were Mukunda Datta and Basu Ghosh. They would sing. Every night we sing the tune. We sing the Gaura Ati. How does that line start? That Narahari. How does that one go? Basu Ghosh Adi Gai. How does that start? The last second, the fourth line, and does that go? When we sing the Gaura Arti, Boshi Sanjaya Mukunda Vasu Ghosh Adigai, Sanjaya Mukunda Vasu Ghosh Adigai, Mukunda Datta and Vasu Ghosh are singing, and Mahaprabhu is dancing with Lord Nityananda Prabhu. This is his place. He's always present here, dancing in Kirtan at the house of Srivas Thakur. And we are here today. So one evening, all of a sudden Mahaprabhu climbed up onto the altar and he picked up the Shalagam Shilas, many Shalagam Shilas. Srivas Thakur there were 4 brothers. Srivas, Sriram, Srinidhi and Sri Pati. 4 brothers, 4 families here, all devotees. So Mahaprabhu climbed up on the altar and picked up the Shalagam Shilas and then sat down on the altar with the Shalagam Shilas in his lap. And then the altar, it began to strain and to creak. As though it was going to collapse. Oh, Mahaprabhu is so big. So he was calling all the devotees. This is the time he's revealing himself. He's Bhakta Rupa, but sometimes the Aisarja, the opulence, manifests in a kirtan. And he begins to manifest his opulence as God, as Parameshwara, Swayam Bhagavan. So this is such occasion. He's calling all the devotees and revealing so many interesting things about their intimate parts of their life that only the Super Soul would know. He would reveal. Just like Murari Gupta. There he was saying that he was being chased. Murari Gupta was being chased by soldiers of the king. At that time, Bengal was under the rule of the Mughals. So sometimes they would pilfer the people. So the soldiers were chasing Murari Gupta, his wife, his daughter. So they got to the river and there was no boat. And he was saying, and the soldiers are coming, it's night time, no boat. Saying better we just go and submerge ourselves in the water and give up our bodies rather than be molested. He said at that time, along came a boat. Along came a boat. And Murari was calling, oh boatman, oh Maji, oh boatman, kindly come, take us to the other side, take us, I will give you some paisa for your trouble, kindly take us to then save our lives, take us to, and okay, yeah, come on, Asha. Got on the boat and rowed them off, and then the soldiers came, their endeavours were thwarted. Some Mahaprabhu said, that night you were being chased, and you were so much in anxiety for your wife, your daughter, you decided to give up your lives. Along came the boatman. You know who that boatman was, Murari? That boatman was me. I rowed you to safety, to protect you, my devotee. And he's saying so many things, and all the devotees are completely astounded. So then he calls, call Kolavecha Shidha, call Kolavecha Shidha. The devotees say, where Kolavecha? Who is Kolavecha? Mahaprabhu said, go that way. Now when you go, you have to go Jagannath Mandir. One evening I think you'll go to Jagannath Mandir. So just a little inside is the house of Kolavecha Shidha. Now you have to go around the road. But in those days, they would just go through the paths in the village. It wouldn't be so long for me, 15-minute walk. Where is Kolavecha? Mahaprabhu said, go that way. You'll hear him calling out. So as they were approaching the area Mahaprabhu indicated, they could hear in the distance, Hari, 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 Hari. I could hear. Mahaprabhu said, you will hear him calling the name. And Kolavecha would be criticized by the neighbors. They'd say, just see, you're spending so much money worshipping Lord Narayan, worshipping Ganga, but what is the use? Your house is broken, the roof has holes, you're so hungry, you can't fill your belly. At night we hear you crying with hunger pain. Right? At night you're crying out, you cannot get a good night's sleep because you stay awake all night crying with hunger pain. Actually, he's staying awake all night, he's crying the name of Hari Hari because he cannot stop. He doesn't want to sleep. Nidra hara vahara kari vijito. And not lose interest in eating and sleeping. Lose interest. Nidra aha viharakari vijito. Radha Krishna guna shmritir muduri anandena samohito. Being completely absorbed in the qualities of Krishna, in the name of Krishna, in the worship of the Krishna. Lose interest in eating and sleeping. Anybody here interested in losing interest? Anyone here like to lose interest in eating and sleeping? You want to think about that for a while? Not sure about that yet? Anyway, that's what happens if you chant Hare Krishna. You lose interest in sense gratification. Bishaya Chariya. No, how's it go yet? Bishaya Chariya. No, it's not that one. It's Mukhe Bolo Hari Har. How's that one go? Say right. Bishaya Chariya Shera Shemajiya Mukhe Bolo Har. Bishaya Chariya Sera Shemajiya Mukhe Bolo Hari Hari. Bishaya Chariya Se Roshe Majiya Mukhe Bolo Hari Hari. When you chant the names of Hari, She Roshe Majiya, when you begin to taste the happiness of the chanting of the holy name. Before we were doing a little kirtan. Do you like to do kirtan? You like to do kirtan?
Yes.
You can taste the happiness of Krishna consciousness when you do kirtan. You can experience Krishna through the name. That's called Se Roshe Majiya. You enter into the taste, into the emotions, into the bhav, into the taste. Rosh, Se Roshe Majiya. Mukhe Bolo Hari Hari. When you chant the name with your lips. So this is the effect of chanting. Your attachment, your bondage, your enslavement to sense gratification becomes loosened, becomes reduced when you chant the names of Hari. So he wasn't sleeping at night because he preferred chanting the holy name. You can try at night if you're not tired, then rather than just watch a movie or sit around or eat something, just take your japa mala and chant. Just chant till you fall asleep. Even if you finished your prescribed number of rounds, whether it be 4 rounds, 6 rounds, 8 rounds, whatever you regularly chant, you can chant more at night time, late at night, before you fall asleep, and then fall asleep. And then you may find that when you wake up in the morning, you will be Hari Hari, again chanting. So he called Sridhar, and Sridhar came, and he was sitting here. Mahaprabhu is sitting here. This is these deities here. He's sitting down. He's being worshipped by the demigods, Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Narad Muni. He's saying to all the devotees, take a boon, take a benediction from me, take a benediction. I am very satisfied. This is what puja is all about. You worship the Lord. Puja. Mangal Arati, Sandhya Arati. You worship the Lord with agarbatti, with dup, with poo, with some naivedya. You worship the Lord. The Lord becomes satisfied. He gives blessings. That's why we do puja, because the Lord becomes the Lord gives blessings. He becomes kind. He becomes mercifully disposed upon the worshipper and fulfills desires. That's why we worship the Lord. And when the Lord fulfills your desires, then what is your requirement? Yam labba chapalam manyake nadikam tata. Yam labba chapalam labham. When you get this, you don't need anything else. Ye bhajanti tamam bhatya ma'ite teshu cha api aham. Krishna says, I become inclined towards my devotee who worships me like a friend. I become his friend. So we worship the Lord, and Krishna becomes inclined to us, to protect us, to be merciful to us. So he said to Kolavechra, take a boon from me, take a boon. I'm very satisfied. Take some. I want to give you a boon. And Kolavechra said, I don't need anything. I'm happy in my life. I'm chanting. I don't need anything. Mahaprabhu said, no, I want to give you a boon. You take a boon. I want to give. You ask, I will make you the Lord of a universe. I will make you Lord Brahma. I will give you a universe. You can be the master of the universe. You just say, I will give you 8 mystic perfections. Agima, Lagima, Prapti, Siddhi. You just say, I'm ready. Just say the word. And Kolavechra said, then if I have to ask for something, if you want to give me something, then I ask you this. I ask this one boon. Life after life, that Brahmin boy, with eyes like lotus petals, with chest like a lion, with beautiful locks of black hair on his shoulders, and with a pure white Brahmin thread, Ananta Shesh, draped across his thread, and with a gold and yellow dhoti, that life after life I can see that Brahmin boy and associate with him and serve him. That's the benediction I ask from you. This is pure devotion. This captures the Lord. You don't want anything. You don't want to become a master of a universe. You don't want the 8 mystic cities. You just want me. I will be yours eternally. I am in them. Krishna only interested in such devotees only interested in Krishna. Sadavo Hridayam Mayam Sadunam Hridayam Taham Mad Anyat Te na janati. They are not interested in anything else apart from me. Naham Tebyo Managapi. And I am not interested in anything else apart from them. This is bhakti. This is why Krishna becomes conquered by bhakti. So Kolavetra, he just wanted to see that Brahmin boy with the long black hair and the beautiful lotus petal eyes and a beautiful chest like a lion and with the effulgent Brahmin thread like an undershesh and a glowing, brilliant yellow. He just wanted to see that Brahmin boy, life after life. They get that darshan. So Mahaprabhu, he's performing these scholar-like pastimes because the devotees love to see. The devotees love to see him walking down the road like a proud lion, challenging all of the various scholars in Mayapur and defeating them. Like Digvijay Pandit, he was conquering all over India, his scholarship, his poetry, and he came one afternoon on the bank of the Ganga, and all the Mishras and the Bhattacharyas in Navadvip were completely in anxiety. What will we do? He wants to challenge us. How can we debate with the Digvijay? So Mahaprabhu Nimai was sitting there with his students, and Nimai requested him, we hear that you are a very eloquent scholar. Could you compose some prayers in glorification of Mother Ganga? So immediately, without hesitation, the Digvijay Pandit, he was able to compose and recite 100 verses glorifying Mother Ganga in pure Sanskrit, just like that. And all the Nimai's students, they saw this phenomena, their mouths dropped. They couldn't believe. How is possible? Spontaneously, you compose the verses, you recite glorifying Mother Ganga. 100 verses, the proud scholar was there. And then Nimai said, Panditji, could you kindly explain the good points and the mistakes in your composition? He said, what? Mistakes? In my composition there are no mistakes. And Nimai immediately he recited 3 verses that he memorized, heard once. He said, this verse, there's this mistake, that mistake, this verse, that mistake, this verse, and the scholar, how is it that you're able to remember? I recited once. Nimai said, just as one is empowered by the mercy of the Lord to compose poetry, so others are empowered to remember. So Nimai pointed out the various mistakes, and he said, kindly explain. And the scholar was silenced. He was trying to speak, but no sound would come on his tongue. He was trying. And then Nimai's students, they began to laugh. And Nimai said, stop. Do not embarrass him. It's very late. It's been a long day. He's had a long journey. Needs to take rest. Come back tomorrow, we'll discuss more. Nimai let him off. But actually he defeated him. So actually that scholar, he was a devotee of Saraswati Devi. And he would chant the propitiatory mantra of Saraswati Devi. He chanted so eloquently that he was given a boon. Whatever he spoke, Saraswati Devi herself, when he spoke, Saraswati Devi herself would appear on his tongue. So Mahaprabhu, so Saraswati appeared in a dream. That night he was chanting propitiatory mantra, and he was saying, what have I done? Why you abandoned me at this time? What have I done? So Saraswati, Mother Saraswati Devi, she appeared. She said, what could I do? How could I, you think I am shameless? How can I appear in front of my Prabhu? You think I'm some shameless harlot? How can I come and flaunt myself in front of my Prabhu? You understand? Yeah. She couldn't appear because Mahaprabhu was there. And in this way, she's revealing actually that young Brahmin, that boy, Nimai, who you are discussing with on the bank of the Ganga. He is none other than Sri Krishna Swayam Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And in this way you should surrender unto him. You should go and fall at his feet, and you should become his devotee. And in this way, Keshav Kashmiri, he was changed. Next day, He came, he realized, he surrendered to the lotus feet of Nimai, he understood, I know who you are. So in this way,